All right. So, many of you had the pleasure of meeting Finalsite's founder and CEO, Jon Moser. And if you have had that opportunity, you know that he is very passionate about social strategies and trends that impact the educational field. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce to you Jon Moser.
Welcome to the Windy City. Even though when I was looking out my window this morning, I think we should call it the Foggy City. You can't really see much right now, but it looks like it's going to clear up today, so we're excited about that. So let's get started. So what are we excited about this year? We've been doing this for 20 years. I find it amazing. I actually started out building Finalsite in my kitchen. And I had a roommate, and I asked my roommate, I said, hey, can I take over a little more of the kitchen? Can I have this part of the table to put a server on and get things going? He agreed to, and finally moved out about 3 months later. But the exciting thing is we're here today, and one of the reasons we're here today is because of you guys. And we just grabbed some random clients that have been with us for a while. We have Gilman School that's been with us for 14 years. Montclair Kimberly for 11 years. LaSalle, 15 years. Crofton House, 8 years. Sacred Heart, 5 years. Castellea, 13 years. And it's amazing seeing these schools grow with us. And I want to thank each one of you for sticking with us and growing with us. And I think one of the exciting things, being the CEO at Finalsite, we have grown now for 18 years straight, which is really exciting. So we haven't grown like this. We have grown like this. And I hope you have seen with our product and everything we have done, we have tried to keep that same trajectory. Thinking about that, I just want to go back before we get started one more time and thank all of you. And our team knows this. We are here to serve you. And one of the things I get asked a lot is, why do you guys have long-term agreements? And one of the things we have to do is through that whole period of time, if we do a good job servicing you, we want you to renew. So our whole team is motivated to make sure you guys get the best experience through the whole process, because when that agreement comes up for renewal, our job is to make sure that you guys want to renew. So we're really excited about the path we have taken and the products we have coming out. But before we get into what's new and what we're doing, I wanted to talk about, hold on, little sample slides. I want to talk about what's going on in the world, in marketing, and what's going down. So we want to talk about humans. So we have this attention span. In 2000, our attention span was 12 seconds. Okay? The average human today, thank you Apple and iPhone and all the instant gratification we get, is 8 seconds. So in some ways, we think humanity has moved forward. But when a goldfish, and the goldfish attention span is 9 seconds, I think we really got to question if we're moving forward. So this is a good one to share in the classroom and at home and at school. Maybe put the phone down a little bit more. You know, yesterday we'd go into the library or different places to find stuff. But it's changing so fast that technology, like wherever you want to go, whatever you want to be, whatever you want to find, you can find it instantly on your phone. And now we're marketers, right? And we're trying to get more engagement. We're trying to get the right students. We're trying to retain students. We're trying to raise money if you're an independent school. And we're dealing with a whole different world. So I want to do some research. So let's see where we are and what's going on. So we're at a point right now We're just about ready to break into a whole new revolution with AI, with computing power that is amazing in the processing that can go on, blockchain, robotics. And I think we all need to know this, and I think it's really important that you share to your leadership what is happening and what you have to deal with going forward. AI is something that's big on my mind. I am definitely digging into this and seeing how schools can use it, but also what's happening out there in the world. This is pretty fascinating to me. So they have done tests now through video. So they record a workforce, and they can tell at a 95% accuracy rate if someone's going to quit just by watching them through a camera, and AI's in the background recording behavioral patterns, and they're able to show what happens. That's fascinating. Do you think our world's going to change? Do you think we should all raise our hands and say we have privacy issues? I think a level we should. But if you go through the airport, they're doing the same thing. They're watching all our behavioral patterns and what we're doing. Let's talk about a positive way to use AI that's pretty interesting to me. The medical field, it's fascinating. So what does a doctor do? A doctor goes in and they do all these tests, they get the results, they have multiple doctors come in, they come up and give an outcome of what's wrong with the patient. And they did a sample, and it took these doctors 3 weeks to diagnose what the problem was with this individual. They also took the same inputs and they plugged it into Watson. Watson is basically computing, right? And AI. It searched all the medical articles that are out there, and within 2 hours, it came back with the same results those doctors did. It's amazing what's happening. Now let's relate it back to how would this help us? I'm talking about inbound marketing. It's one of those things that is big to Finalsite, and we believe, just like responsive design, 3 years ago we'd be saying, is your site responsive? Are you doing responsive websites? Do you guys hear that anymore? You don't, because that's marketing. Inbound marketing, we're not going to say inbound marketing next year. I can almost guarantee you, we're not going to say, are you doing inbound marketing? That is going to be marketing. That's what it's going to be. But after that, like, what does that look like? Can you imagine, you're like, what is interesting to my parents? What would get me the most engagement? And you get a little bulletin that shows up when you log in. It says, hey, the most interesting topic right now and it's getting the most engagement on social media is this. I recommend you posting something like that. Would that be valuable? Absolutely would, because you want to look at more engagement. That's how AI is going to work and help you out. Marketing automation. When people come to your website and they fill something out and they sign up when they fill out a form and move right into a drip campaign, and automated emails go out and follow that. This is what's happening. This is the changes that are happening around in our society. Personalization is another one that Microsoft, Amazon, you ever go to shop at Amazon and then you leave and you're off on a blog reading it and all of a sudden you see the backpack you were looking at and you're like, wait a minute? That's personalization. They're tracking you, they're going around, but you can do that on your website now. This is the stuff that's changing and where things are going. So let's talk about personalization for a minute. So one thing we do know is Amazon, Yahoo, Google, all the internet titans, what they have figured out is if I see content that I'm interested in, I'm more likely to take action, I'm more likely to buy, I'm more likely to click, I'm more likely to do something. So personalization is what we're all used to. And it is a problem in a way. If you think about this, news articles, right? You read news articles, it starts knowing what you read, so you only get one side of the story then. So that's not really good when it comes to news, but if I'm looking at a school, wouldn't it be awesome if I was coming from a specific area and I had Spanish as my browser language, that some of the content on the website I was looking at would be in Spanish? Or how about I'm a kid and I'm looking to go to your school and I'm coming from another country, you're an international school or you're a boarding school, and we know what country they're coming from, so you could show kids that, let's say it's Korea, and you have kids going from, or someone browsing from Korea on your website, and you can show that on the website. So we're just seeing personalization in millennial parents and how they shop absolutely changing. Our parents today that are going to your school, their demands keep going up. And as marketers, you're like, I can't keep everyone happy anymore. I'm only one person or 5 people, whatever your school size is. They're researching differently. They're digital natives. They know how to find everything. And millennials, we'll get into this, they're definitely looking for something different than the past generation. So I want to do a little sampling here. So how many of you think you have social media figured out in a pretty good way? So I'm just going to do a little sample here. So let's say kids today. I have 5 kids at home, so I really check this out to make sure it's real. And what I'd like you to do is just stand up, and I'm just going to go around and say, what is most important to our youth today? Because if you guys are really good at social media, you should know how kids are using social media today. Okay, so if you think likes are the most important thing, I'd like you to stand up. 4 students between 11 and 18. Okay, a few. Next one. Comments. Who thinks comments are the most important thing to kids? Okay. Mentions. Streaks. Okay. And the last one, friends. Who thinks friends, having the most friends, is the most important? You know what the answer is? Streaks. Streaks is not Facebook. It's not LinkedIn. It's not Twitter. It's Snapchat. As parents, we're so glad they invented Snapchat. Not really. But the fact of the matter is, the youth want to keep their streaks up. And they're going in all the time. So how are you engaging them? And how are we connecting with them through this? And are we able to talk to them about this, the goods and the bads, and how we communicate? So 22% of consumers will not visit your website if there is a negative story. So millennials, right? They're shopping. And if they see negative stuff before they even get to your website, and we'll talk about this, that they will not do an inquiry. Research differently. So what we're finding is millennials, 55% of millennials go to Google before they go to a branded website. So here's my challenge to you. Go to Google and look at your website. Type in your school as a branded search. You're typing in your school name, and whatever you see there first is what millennials, 55% of them are looking there first. And if they see a bad review or not reviews on Google, it doesn't help you. Today, prospects research differently. 80% of searches begin with unbranded search. So what does that mean? That means I'm basically going independent schools, Chicago. And if you live in the local area and you don't show up in the top 5 or top 3, that's not good. This is incredibly important because this is how they search. This is how they're looking. 84% of adults trust online reviews. Now, this is a little bit scary if you know how reviews are all calculated and what's going on. But we're so used to shopping at Amazon. So we look at the reviews, and we're like, all right, reviews are important. Now my kid's going to school. I want the same thing. But the problem is, if you go to Google and look at all the ratings that are going on out there, some of them are pay per rating. Wait a minute here. That doesn't seem equitable. It doesn't seem like, but that's how it's working. That's what's going on, so we need to adapt to that. 90% of consumers read online reviews before visiting a business. I think it makes sense. So, I have people come up to me and go, John, like even here, so glad to be here. Last Finalsite U was great. I like using this tool. You know what I like to say? I'm like, thank you. I really appreciate that. It makes me feel good. But would you go to Google or go to a listserv and post something out on social media and tell everyone what you think? That would be awesome. And if I was at your school and a parent came up to me and said, I had a great experience at the soccer tournament. I had a great experience at the band concert. This teacher did an amazing job. I'd be like, well, go to rateyourteacher.com and share something positive, or post this out on Twitter or this thing called Snapchat, right? Like, post this stuff and make it public. Because if millennials are shopping this way, why not get that feedback? And we all know word of mouth is the best. So a little trivia to keep this fun. Back in 2000, Finalsite used to ship servers to school. What happened to the first server we shipped to La Jolla Country Day? It was shipped to the wrong school in La Jolla. B, the train the server was on derailed in Chicago. Like, really? The FBI confiscated the server for 2 weeks. Raise your hand if you think it's A. Raise your hand if you think it's B. Raise your hand if you think it's C. The answer is no way. The train derailed in Chicago and our server got damaged. We don't ship servers to schools anymore. It didn't work out. They have this thing called the cloud now. Okay, applying to schools. Okay, so this is the last year I'm going to be like pushing inbound marketing because we all need to be doing this. So inbound, we need to really think about how we're marketing differently. There's less students applying to your school. If you're a district, you're in the case where schools can leave to go to charter schools. And we really need to make sure we're marketing the right content at the right time. So this is about, the question is, why should I blog? So if you blog, things get searched, it gets pushed out to Google, your SEO rankings go higher. Okay, that's a good enough reason for me. But now if I send an email out and I have a blog post that says, I would do one for each sport, at least one blog post, a little about the sport, the captain of the team, or something that happened. And now when you send out an email and people click on it, you know what their interests are. Whoa, so you mean someone applying to my school, and I have an email with all these different topics, I could see what they're clicking on, so I know what their interest areas are. So when they come and apply to my school and I talk to them, I can bring up information that they're interested in. Does this sound amazing or easy? Or it's really not that hard. But if you talk to me about content I'm interested in, it's going to be better. But we got SEO, we got email, analytics, social, websites, blogging, and CRM, all this stuff pulled together. And I think the cool thing is we're integrating this with your admissions packages that you use. Okay, let's keep going. So at the end, we're really trying to influence the decision makers. So the decision makers are parents, and the parents are like, hey kid, I think we give our kids way too much decision-making power nowadays. Here's 2 schools, which one would you like to go to? Like, really? Like, I think you're going there. But that's not how it works. So we got to make sure we're getting the right content out there. We got to make sure we're getting the ratings right. We know how millennials shop. There's no excuse not to get this right. I talked about personalization a little bit. If you like awesome design, which I do, because I think design is what makes people stay on your site. People like things that look good. Like, is this hotel pretty nice? Yeah, I think it's awesome. Like the experience I've had has been really good. I'm like, I feel good here. This is great. But if someone comes to your website and they see something that looks really good, that's awesome. But what happens if we want one step further? So any of you that are redesigning your site, you really need to have personalization built in. Multilingual. If you're down south in certain areas where Spanish is becoming more prevalent in certain areas, wouldn't it be awesome if content changed on certain parts of your website, especially the admission section, or pictures changed on your website relating to that, and depending on who you are. So when you're doing design now, photos can change depending on where you are and where people are coming from. Seo Ppc, this is my rule of thumb. Why would you invest all this money in your website if you're not getting enough traffic, right? We want more eyes. And what we felt at Finalsite is like, depending on what industry, if you're in the public school industry, you want to retain those tax dollars in your town. If you're a private school or independent school, you're looking to increase your enrollment. So you need to make sure your local listings, you're showing up high on search engines, because this is what happens. My name's John, and I just got a job in Chicago. I'm going to go to Google, and I'm going to go independent school Chicago, right? And if you don't show up, like, shame on you, schools. That should be like the #1 thing before you even have a beautiful website, because if you're not getting those eyes, but once you get those eyes, we want to keep them. Okay, great website design. We talked about design a little bit here. Personalization has to be in there. But I always say, what is your value prop at your school? So if I went up to you, and you guys are in marketing, most of you, or communications, and I said, why should I go to your school? You better have 5 bullet points or 5 main things that make you go, this is why my school is the best. And you shouldn't go like, oh, you're next to this school and we're better in this school because of this. You should have 5 value props that make you stand out in front of everyone else. I always think about great design. These are just examples. We roll out, we have over 100 design awards. We really look to do this. There's a lot of awesome schools out there, and we keep coming up with new technology. We have a team that's looking at all the new stuff coming out, like taking still images and making stuff move within still images so it loads quicker. You're able to do different things and market your value prop. There's lots of cool things from schools all over the world that we're deploying and that are sharing their story. But I still go back to value prop. So let's make believe we go back to Google for a minute, right? We're on Google and your school shows up. How many URLs usually show up under your Google search? What am I hearing? 6. Yeah, 6. And guess what? The main one goes to your home page, but the other 6 go to pages in your site now that probably don't look great, maybe don't sell value, like the tuition page. Bing! Oh, here's a school. Let's go see how much it costs to see if I can afford it. I click on tuition, I go to the page, and I'm like, I can't afford this. I'm out of here. And I'm looking at schools, and I'm talking to a lot of heads of schools and boards, and they're saying, hey, we need to come up with more revenue. We need more students. Our enrollment's off. I even talked to a school the other day, one of the board members. They said they took their tuition. Their tuition is $45,000 a year. Their average tuition they charge, though, is $18,000. Okay? $18,000 is their average tuition. So they know what they did? They dropped their tuition down to like $20,000 in that range because their enrollment was slipping. And guess what? They have a waiting list. And they're actually getting more students in, and they're actually covering their operating costs more than they did when their tuition was listed at $45,000. What's happening? People are going there. Whether they have the money or not, they assume, I'm going to make believe. Let's just make believe I make $125,000 a year, or I have a combined income with my wife. I go to that page, I look at the tuition, and I'm like, I can't afford this. I'm not going to get financial aid. But really, the school gives financial aid to almost everyone that's not in a certain area. So $125,000, I would have got it, but I don't even ask because I don't think I can. So we're losing those people. So we need to market better. And we have teams to help with that, but I'll get into that in a little bit. And here's a few more designs. But we're really trying to tell a story in these pictures and videos as you go through the front page. Think about this. Draw emotion. Try to get emotion into the people that are viewing your sites. Okay. If you're a private school, you're looking for gifts. You're looking for engagement. So here's one thing I love to do. All right, on your login page for your parents, when they log in, are you selling them value every time they log in? No, most of you are not. And I think it'd be really cool if you just, when you're designing your site, and our team can advise this too, is that on that login page, why not have 10 pictures that randomly change, And you update those every month, every 2 weeks, and show your kids doing activities. So when I log in as a parent, I'm like, I'm paying $20,000 a year for your school. I don't know if I want to pay that. It's getting tight. But if I'm selling value, every time I log in, I can think, oh, I see what I'm getting on this. The kids are working with robotics, or they're in here, they're doing this, they're doing that. Blogs and news, we talked about a little bit, but it helps SEO rankings. And you can see on the bottom here, as I've been going through this, we're sliding up if you want more information on each of these sessions. We're here to give you ideas, things you can blog about, how you can tie it in. And blogging is definitely tied in to automated marketing and inbound marketing, as I shared before. Another fact, we used to do our user conference at Avon Old Farm School. And in 2012, we had an issue. Here's the questions. A, there was a bear alarm. B, there was a tornado drill. C, there was a snowstorm. Okay, how many people think it's A? Raise your hand. Oh, think it's a bear. A tornado drill, B. C, a snowstorm. We live in New England, a lot of us. And guess what it is? It's the bear. Like really, we're in there and all of a sudden the alarm goes off and they're like, there's a bear on campus. Do not go outside and touch the bear. And you know what everyone did? Everyone grabbed their camera and went outside and tried to take a picture of the bear. And then I was watching social media and this guy tweeted, he was from New York City. He's like, I've never seen a bear, but I am not going outside and I don't know how I'm going to get home. But I'm not leaving Avon Old Farms. I'm not leaving. I'm not going outside. And then someone went into the room and said they thought they heard there was beer outside. And then a whole nother group went outside. And we're like, no, don't go outside. So anyways, these are things that happen throughout the years. Okay, so what's coming next? So eNotify has been our primary product we've had for years, but we've rolled out messages. There's no additional charge. You get messages, and if you're not using messages, you really have to get to this because this is your cornerstone of inbound marketing and communications. And people come to me a lot and say, we use HubSpot, but we only use 20% of that, and we love inbound marketing, and what does your tool do? So we send out the emails, right? Okay, great, we send out emails, but now you can automate all of this technology. And it connects to your SIS system so you can get your data up there automatically. You can go to Constant Contact and use products, but what happens if it's all integrated? You have a blog post, you have links on your website, and you have all this together, and now it all works as one? We're the first product and only product in the educational marketplace that actually pulls this all together from a website to inbound marketing as a platform. And let me tell you, this day that we have offered this is one of the most exciting days for me. Because I really feel you got to stop looking at your website as a website, and you got to look at it as a marketing platform. Let me repeat that. A marketing platform. You have to use this to engage your audiences and work with them. And there's more information at 11:30 on Friday. Workflow automation. We have launched this. This is super exciting. Now, I'm just going to give an example. You use Ravenna. It's just one. And you go through, you do an inquiry. It pushes right through to our tool. And it will say, welcome. Thank you for doing an inquiry, right? And then 2 weeks later, a week later, another email goes out and says, hey, here's information about students. Here's activities at the school. Because we all know parents are like, what are the teachers? When they graduate, where do they go? What technology do you have? Kids are like, what am I going to do during the day? What activities do they have, right? And then the third email goes out automatically, and it says, hey, we have a virtual open house, or we have an open house on this day. Make sure you come. And then a fourth one goes out and says, there's a limited number of seats at our school, like make a decision, like time's running out, we're filling up. And could you have done that onesie Tuesday, sending out to each person? No, you want them to sign up for workflows, and it links back to your website, and they're clicking on things, and you know what they're doing, and now you can talk to them in amazing ways. And if you're a district and you're sending out messages, now you can see what content is making sense so you can engage your parents more because you want to keep those students in your district. This is something new. I'm super excited. So one thing our schools don't realize there's like 20 to 40 local listings where people look to find your address and to find schools. So if I believe that schools are now, the demographics are changing. I think we're all hearing this, demographics are changing. People are having less kids. There's less kids applying to the schools. There's only so much going around. So you better be in every spot where people search. So we're rolling out a new tool that will actually go out and it actually searches all of the local listings in your area. And it makes sure that your listings are all up to date. And there's new ones popping up all the time. And guess what? This is like, all right, Google, we get that. But this, if you sign up for this service, it will go out and it goes out every month and it checks them all and gives you a report exactly what's going on in the social sphere with your labels and everything. And that little 100% up there, right now on the majority of all your sites is like at 20. And you'll be able to see this as things are corrected and all the different ones that are out there. This is going to be available for the next school year, and you'll be notified about this. And you'll get some of them for free, but it does take a lot of work to keep them up. It actually is a manual process on part of this on the back end, because not everything's automated. But what we want to do is to make sure wherever your parents are searching or where anyone's looking to provide or put their kids at your school, that they can find you and that everything's up to date. There is no tool in the marketplace that I know that goes through and does all this. Okay, next, mobile app. So what's exciting about our mobile app here is that it has Android and iPhone. It's brand new. The UI is super slick. You can do notifications to your parents. Parents can collaborate. It all ties to your website, so the content you're putting up on your website pulls over to your app, and we keep investing and building on it. So, my gift to all of you that made the effort to come to this conference, if you are interested in the app and you sign up at this conference, you get 25% off year one. And if you're not at this conference and you're watching this through live video, I'm sorry, next year you should come. But I'm excited to share that with everyone. So thank you as a gift for everyone coming today. If you want to learn more, Friday at 1:30 is a good time. We're working on online forums. Our forms tool is a little dated. We know. But we are putting a lot of effort into making this really special. And so like giving forms and inbound marketing and downloading stuff, we've really put a lot of effort into this. So later this year, I'm hoping you're going to start seeing some beta programs and some stuff that you can try out. Blackbaud's here, and a lot of people go like, why are you letting Blackbaud into your conference? What are you doing? What's going on? Last year, we did a partnership with them, and we agreed that we should work together. We called it Blackbaud Finalsite 1.0, and we integrated a lot of their products. So NXT, on products, even their premise products, the products that sit at your school still that you haven't upgraded, Education Edge, or some of those, we integrate with. So we talked again, and we said, how can we work our partnership better? And what we have agreed to do is to work more as a team. So now we're actually integrating deeper. So Blackbaud is actually going to have integration into our inbound marketing tool later this year. But I think the exciting thing is we are going to be working closer with them. So we're fine. We want more people to sign up for Blackbaud and use their SIS because we're going to integrate tighter into their environments. So I'm basically giving Blackbaud an endorsement, and Travis Warren is their head of K-12, and he's going to be in front of all the Blackbaud folks at their user conference, and they're going to say, work with Finalsite more. They have a great inbound marketing platform, and that's where it's going. They're still going to have a website solution, but if we're thinking about a marketing platform and all this, this is the choice that we want to provide to everyone here, and we want to make it easier for our schools that are using this as we go forward. Here's my next big one. This one I'm super excited about, is we're going to be offering live streaming going into the next school year also. So, I don't know, my kids are getting close to graduation, and the school where my kids go, I had them install live streaming. I talked to the superintendent. They go to a public school, and they installed it, and I tried it for a year. Guess what? Graduation? We could watch graduation remotely. They had town hall meetings. They're talking about building a new school, and everyone who couldn't make it could log in and watch it. And then you have all the sporting events, right? I have, 5 kids? I have 3 soccer games going on at one time. I can't make it to all of them, but I could live stream them. So all the sporting events and all that can be live streamed. Now, how's this tied to Finalsite? Great, you're doing live streaming, so they have cameras there, but now you can put it behind your portal, or you can make it public on your website. And schools are like, boards are like, hey, head of school, we need you to generate a little more revenue because we're off by 10% on our student count this year, and we need a little more revenue. Oh, imagine you offer live streaming to your parents, and then at halftime, we have something called page pops, and it automatically pops up over the video player. They can delete it or just close it out and it goes away. But you could say, hey, will you donate to support our live streaming that we're doing? And here are the different options. Or you could send something out to have people sign up and pay to get onto this. What we're trying to do is provide more ways to connect the community. And if you're a boarding school, like, this is a no-brainer, right? Parents are all over the world. If you're a day school, parents are traveling and they don't get to see all this stuff, plays and all these things now. You could get your parents to log into your portal. A lot of times people go to me, how do I get more people to log into my portal, the parent portal? I said, I have schools. Zurich International get 90% of their parents to log into their portal. I'm like, you can do it, but you have to put content in there that's worthwhile. And they surveyed all their parents, and their parents said, if I log in, I don't want to see random information. I want to see personalized information to my kids. Then I'm interested. Zurich did that. They get a lot more people logging in. Can you imagine you had live streaming in your portals? Do you think you'd get your parents to log in? Do you think you could create a path where they go through and you can communicate to them messages that you need to get out? Absolutely. Finalsite Advantage. We talked about this last year and the year before. So we are upgrading Finalsite Advantage. Again, we are Finalsite Advantage 1.0. And what we were doing, we basically, if a school needed strategic help, you could sign up for this, and we would work with you every week. We would follow up with you, making sure you're doing your social media right, your value props right, that you're doing all this stuff. You can hire us to be basically like your chief marketing officer or someone at your school to make sure everything's going right, because we have experts that do that. And what we found, and I travel all over, I'm at NEIS, I'm at all sorts of conferences, and heads of schools are coming up to me saying, hey, my marketing person with this inbound marketing stuff is overwhelmed. And we can augment, you can hire us now to help you with inbound marketing at a small amount per month if you want to do that. Or I have schools that say, I can't hire a communication director. And we're in Uzbekistan. We actually have schools in Uzbekistan. We have schools in Uganda. We're in 80 countries around the world. And they're like, we need help. We can help them now. We have teams of people that are experts that will help you and augment your team to do this. Because what I feel is like, you have so many responsibilities. You know inbound marketing is it, but then you leave here and you have like 100 things you want to do, and you take the top 10 and you never get to it. I'm just saying, we have teams here now. We call them a virtual webmaster. We have people who will be a virtual webmaster at your school. We have virtual communication directors that will actually help. They're not here to replace you. They're here to help you and augment your team and make you better. Because I do not feel it's possible anymore for everyone to keep up with all the changes that are going on in marketing. Right? Streaks? Like, really? We're supposed to know this? Okay. Some exciting news. Finalsite has grown quite a bit over the years, and we've just hosted a London user conference last year, and we also hosted a conference in Vietnam. So today I'm announcing our London Finalsite U conference. We all like Chicago, but on October 24th through 25th, we'll be in London having our user conference there. And in February, we'll be hosting one in Hong Kong. And believe it or not, we will have 100+ people at our conferences overseas, which I think is amazing. And the crowdsourcing and the stuff that's going on at these events is amazing. And I would like to announce Finalsite U 2020 is going to be in Orlando. And guess what? We might talk about experience because we're going to be at Disney. The big change is it's going to be in March. 4th through 6th. I also want to thank our sponsors. I think all of you have been to events. We don't consider our sponsors just people who okay, they pay, they can come. These are partners that we feel are very strong, that work with us well, that work with our teams, and we're comfortable saying, you should feel comfortable working with them because we feel comfortable. AudioEye from Magnus Health, the community brands, and different ones on here. But I especially want to thank BlueSnap, which is our payment partner. So if we can give them a round of applause for helping us fund. So BlueSnap, what they're doing is, we basically said, we're going to our schools and everyone has tons of different payment gateways. And they're processing all these different ways. And we're we got to simplify this. So we went out and we searched the marketplace and we came up with, there's 3 providers out there that can do some of this. We narrowed it down and we said BlueSnap's the best one. And we took BlueSnap and we have integrated them into our product. They're here today. They work with our team and we feel this is the best option for doing transactions wherever you are in the world. Just in summary, so website design is super important, right? You have 7 seconds to gain their attention. Personalization is important. And how you design this out, make sure we're getting down and we're blogging right. Everyone's heard about authentic content, right? Yes, we have something called Finalsite feeds, and you can aggregate your social media. We have schools that say, hey, as a teacher, you need to post 1 picture a day, and it automatically goes on the website, so it's Instagram, Twitter, and it's showing up. I like to see authentic content coming out of the classroom. And when I see that, I'm like, wow, look at all the good things that are going on at the school. If you get someone to your site, you got to be selling the value. Strategic consulting, we talked about that. We offer SEO, PPC, social media services, all the advantage stuff I just talked about. We want to make sure that you're doing the right marketing and you're investing in the right way. Communication, school to home, and make sure your messaging's right and make sure you're putting it in the right spot, whether it's blogging, email, whatever it would be. Inbound marketing, you have to be doing this. Automating workflows, pulling stuff in and making sure that message and that content marketing that you're putting out there is the smartest so you can track it back. And again, we have lots of sessions on this. Portals and integration, we're doubling down. We're integrating deeper and deeper with our partners. And I think my message today was, hey, Blackbaud, we're going in deeper with Blackbaud because a lot of your schools have them. Think about if you're in your development office at your school, if you're an independent school, and you're looking for donations, you're using Razor's Edge, and Razor's Edge connects to inbound, and now you can see what your donors or potential donors are clicking on, what their interest areas are, and you can cultivate them and put them into workflows so you can work them through to donate and draw out emotion. If I was in your development office, I'd be like, when can I have this? This is real marketing. This is how the platforms work. And then we have a bunch of add-on modules like forms we're rebuilding and a lot of other tools that we're upgrading and adding on to as we go forward. I like to share this too. This is me. I love technology. I actually live on a farm. I have 5 kids, like I said. We sell eggs. I'm into good, healthy food. We raise our own animals. It's just a cool thing, but I also think exercising is part of this balance when you work with technology. So I'm like, put your phones down. Let's teach the kids that are around us that us adults can shut our notifications off and go do something outdoors, or we can go exercise because we are the ones they're looking at. I look at my kid, I'm like, put your phone down. And I'm responding to an email. I'm like, boy, I'm hypocritical. But I think we need to think about, we are the ones they're looking at. They say 70% of what our kids learn is from our actions and what they watch, not what we say. So 30% is what we say. So if that's true, maybe we need to start living what we want our kids to be. And if you guys are all at schools, I think you get this. So let's just keep that in mind. So I'm pro technology. Let's do it. Let's use it to be great, but let's also think about the other side. And then,
to all of our clients from us at Finalsite, we say thank you!
Our team wants to say thank you. We really appreciate everyone. We hope you have an amazing conference and have a great day. Intermingle with folks that are in the same field as you. We're trying to connect people up, connect through the app where you can, and work with our people. Come up to me. I'd love to talk to you, and have a super conference, and thank you.